Today I'm going to show you guys how to make some sharpening utensils for your wood carving blades. So stick around. I want to show you guys how to make a sandpaper strop and a leather strop for sharpening your carving tools, your wood carving tools. This is what I use to sharpen my tools with. If you prefer a different way, hey, great for you, but this works for me. So show you guys how to do that. Basically, I went to my bandsaw, took a scrap piece of plywood, and I cut two pieces about 3 3/4 inches wide. Once I cut those two pieces, I shaped handles on them to turn them into little paddles. After I did that, I took them over to the sander and kind of cleaned them up a little bit and rounded over the edges, no splinters, So after that, what you're left with is a little paddle. I drilled some holes in them too because every one of them needs a hole in it. But anyways, you're left with a little paddle shape, and you can make the handle real long. I personally don't see the use in a real long handle, but this is basically what you're left with. And of course, these two fit the sandpaper that I'll be using, and the sandpaper that I'm using is wet or dry. It's 2000 grit and 3000 grit, and you can get this stuff at the Home Depot or that blue one that's not the Home Depot, and it's like $8 a pack, but you get 10 sheets in it and it'll last you basically your entire life, the life of your knife for sure. So what you want to do is you want to take and glue these two pieces, to your paddle. Now I do like to mark which side just because they are so fine. So this is 3000. I'll come back with a Sharpie and touch this up, but 3000. So the other side will be 2000. All right, and you can use any super glue that you want to. I just happen to have some CA glue. That's what I'll be using. So a good little bit of CA glue on there. And then what I like to do is take and rub that stuff in real good, because you want it to hold the entire sheet down. There we go. Anything that raises up after that dries, we'll touch it up a little bit, put a little bit more in it. Nice and flat right there. You can make these concaved for your spoon knives, your bowl knives, whatever you want to call them, but you don't need to once you get that rhythm down with it. It works. No better way to say it than it works. All right, so there's a little flap right there, some of the corners, a little bit right there, but that'll be all right. I'm gonna tack this corner down right quick. Put a little bit too much in there. I'm really bad about that. That's okay. We'll wipe it off and dispose of it in one of these little holes right here. There we go. That should work beautifully. Just a dab will do you. There we go. And like I said, this is wet or dry sandpaper, so you can actually wet this. It won't hurt it. But you don't need to for this. It works perfect dry. I hardly ever, probably never have wet it, actually. I got a little bit of super glue there, but it'll be okay. One of these days I'll learn how to use this stuff. So if you get a little bit of super glue on it, you see the little spots, it'll be all right. It's not gonna hurt anything. This stuff's so fine. This is the 2000. You can use a spreader on this, it would probably help it, but I'm lazy and already in a seated position, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to smooth it out right here with this. There we go, that's got good coverage on it. And then I'm trying not to get it everywhere. Lay it down. Flatten it out, shouldn't have to raise this one back up. So that's good. Once it tacks to it, should be all right. You can see where it's actually taking skin off my hands. And there is the sandpaper strop, is what I'm going to call this. It's not a sharpening stone, it's just a sharpening pad. So, looks pretty good. Alright, so after the sharpening pad is done, you want to make a strop. And for that, I have this little piece of scrap suede leather. And you want suede. I have hardly ever used the smooth side of a strop. I know they come in smooth, but I don't use them. You want suede because it holds your stropping compound in. The smooth side, as soon as you start stropping off, it just peels away. It's no good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and just kind of mark this thing out right here. It ain't got to be perfect. And you see my strop is fairly wide. Yours does not have to be that wide. I prefer mine this wide just because it covers the entirety of my blade. For the most part, covers a lot more than those that you buy on Amazon and stuff like that. So we're gonna cut that out. Good pair of scissors works. You don't have to have any kind of special leather tools for any of this. You don't have to put a handle on it. I mean, this could be a piece of 2x4 that you pick up, and you can just do it. If you wanted to just do one side of it with the sandpaper and the other side of it with the leather, that's fine too. I just like to have the varying fineness of the sandpaper. I know I have heard people say, oh, I use 180 grit, 220 grit, and that works perfect for me. That's a little too coarse for my knives. I don't like putting scratches on my blade. I like for my knives to stay extremely sharp. So I use up in the thousands. The lowest I will go is 1200 grit. So once we have that done, we're going to place this on here. Might have to trim it up a little bit again, but place this on here, and I'm not going to try to smear it all on there and try to get this thing to set down. I'm going to start on one end and work my way to the other because I want this leather to be smooth and flat. So start right here, go ahead and put it on the leather. Lay the leather on there just like that. We'll let that harden up for just a minute. And then we can do a little bit bigger area and start working our way back. Like I said, if there's a little bit of super glue on it, it don't matter. Stuff's hard to mess with as it is, so don't beat yourself up too bad if you get a little bit here and there. Got a little bit dripping down on my table there. I don't want it on my table everywhere. Getting rid of a little bit on the table ain't gonna hurt nothing, but I don't want just a puddle of it sitting there. I don't want any bumps or rolls in this because it'll leave a roll in your knife blade as you're pulling it. If it raises up, it's going to pick that section of your knife up, so don't want any of those. You could probably use wood glue to set this stuff, but it'd probably take a lot longer to dry, so I wouldn't use it. If it feels warm to the touch, that is the super glue having a chemical reaction with the leather, because leather is skin and super glue bonds instantly to skin, and when you use a lot of it like I just did, it gets hot. All right, clean this table up a little bit, get some of the excess glue off of it with a little scrap piece here. Get some of the excess off the back of this. So once you have this all glued up, now you can trim the corners of it if you want to. You don't have to. Anything that's laid over. Once you have it all glued up, you need to put stropping compound on it. And I keep mine in a bag because I carry it with me so that I can add more. But the first application of this needs to be heated. You might be able to do it just by rubbing it on there, but it's not the best. What you want to do is use a heat gun, heat the surface, and then rub this in. And because you want this to be in there, you want to impregnate this leather with the stropping compound. So watch your ears. Might not have been as loud as I thought it was going to. If you don't have a heat gun, you could probably get away with a hair blow dryer, like a hair dryer. Heat gun just works best to me. And you want to just grind that stuff into there. And if it starts rolling up real bad, like that, if it starts rolling up, heat it up again. Don't be scared of it. About dropped it. See how it's kind of peeling up right there whenever I scraped it. See how it's kind of peeling up? You know, heat that up again. There we go. Now it's going in there nice and liquidy. See that? That's going to work out real well. I've had people ask me before what's the difference between the white compound and the green compound, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I don't think there's a difference at all. If there is, it is really hard to tell. So, clean up the mess there. Another thing that I like to have is a dowel, and I'm gonna do the same thing with the leather. It doesn't have to be a super long piece, just a little bitty, just a scrap piece here will work. So I'm going to cut this kind of square right here. About all we'll need of that. Lay me a bead of glue down. And then stick the dowel to it. Let that harden up for just a second. It usually doesn't take long for this stuff. It's almost there. It's at that rounded surface, so it's only getting a little bit of connection while I'm pushing down on it, trying to give it more surface area. That's a little bit better. All right. And then, just like before, take and run a bead of glue down through there, just like that, and roll it into it. Oh, came unstuck there. Struggling down here on this end. You're going to roll it until you can't see that dark line anymore. I think that should be just about good enough. And just let that stuff cure for a minute. And then essentially what you have right here is a round strop that you can run inside your spoon nose. Once all your glue is dried on this, you're going to basically repeat the same steps that you did on the other strop with the heat gun and the compound. All right, so now that that's all finished, you see you're left with basically a rounded straw. Clean up the mess, put this away somewhere where it won't catch the shop on fire. All right, now you have the rounded strop, the flat strop, and the sandpaper strop or sandpaper board or sharpening board. If you've got a good name for this, put it in the comments. There you go. That's all you need right there. So these are super easy to make. I got the leather. You can get leather scraps from Hobby Lobby. You can order it online. Hobby Lobby has it in stock there already, so you don't have to worry about it taking 5 days now to get to you. The sandpaper board. Alright, I got the sandpaper from the Home Depot. It's $8 a pack. You could just use one. You could use, I mean, if you want to get a block, you could use 4 different grits. I never go below 1200. I know some people do, but I never do because I don't like scratching up my blades. And really, this just puts a nice fine finish. And this is also wet dry again. So I hope you learned something. I hope you liked the video, and I hope you're able to make your own. If you do, don't forget to subscribe and all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. Next time, we'll use them and sharpen a knife with them. Probably make that video in just a minute and then edit it as a different video. So check that one out too. All right, we'll see you guys later. Bye. I hate long goodbyes. I don't really know how to say goodbye on a video. You know, it's hard to